Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not telling my girlfriend that my parents are gay? I'm 25 male, I have two parents. My birth dad, John, who's 48 male, and my other dad, Dwayne, who's 45 male. I call my birth dad John, Dad. And I call my other dad Dwayne, Pops. My birth dad John was married to my mom for a few years, then she left my dad, and yeah. They ended up divorcing and now she's somewhere in California, I don't know where or what she's doing. Haven't talked to her in ages. So Dad and Pops I'm super close with. They are the best parents any child could ask for. I love both of them and they've always been with me. My dad introduced me to Pops when I was a little boy and they had told me they were in a relationship, and I was all for it because I had saw my dad become lonely and sad when he was single, so seeing the fact that my dad loves someone and has a life partner made me super happy. Pops and Dad got married, and we've been living an amazing life. I'm probably more too close to Pops than my own dad, huh? Due to the fact that Pops is really cool and he's laid back. I love both of them equally and they love me as well, and I'm blessed to have them as parents. For a few months I'd been dating this girl Bella who's my age. I thought she's pretty cute and I liked her. So we kicked it, and recently she told me my parents want to meet your parents and want to come over for dinner. I said sure. I'll tell my family. So yesterday, Friday night, Bella comes in. Pops greets her and says, "Come on in, sweetheart, dinner is ready." She says, "You must be Dad, so good to meet you," and she shakes his hand and she sees Dad come out of the kitchen. He's holding the mac and cheese tray with the mittens and is putting it on the table. Then Bella says, "Who is he?" I said, "Oh, that's my dad." She said, "I though he's your dad," she's referring to Pops. I say, "Yeah. That's my Pops? And that's my dad?" She pulls me to the side and says, "I didn't know your parents are gay?" Oh my God? Why didn't you tell me? I genuinely didn't know why that'd be an issue or so. Because you're dating me, not my parents and all. So it shouldn't matter. But I guess it's a concern for her. Her parents come at the door after they parked the car and Bella tells her parents let's leave and they left. I told my parents I'm sorry and they said, "Son, don't worry, this is nothing new, ha," and then we all sat down and enjoyed dinner and went to sleep. So am I the a-hole for not telling? Next story. Am I the a-hole for threatening to make my in-laws homeless if they cannot understand what working from home means? I am 38 years old woman and I am primary breadwinner for my household. My husband is 42 years old and he is semi-retired due to an injury at work. He is a great husband and has taken over all the housework that needs to be done during the day. We share all the duties when I'm not working. Recently his sister, her husband, and their two teen kids lost their home. We have a rental suite in our basement that we just use as a family area, so we agreed to let them live there. Because I'm paranoid, I had them sign a lease. A few days ago my husband had an opportunity to do some consulting at his old work. He loves doing it because it gets him out of the house and he gets to see his old co-workers and friends. It was short notice, so we hadn't arranged babysitting. We asked his sister to watch our youngest for the day so he could go work and she agreed. She then delegated the task to her 13-year-old son. Then she had her nap. The kid didn't want to disturb his mom during her nap, so he banged on my door while I was working to change a diaper. Fair enough, if I were a 13-year-old boy I might not feel comfortable changing a baby girl. I asked where his mom was and he said she was napping. I woke her up and told her that she had agreed to watch her niece and to do so. I waited for my husband to get home and we discussed his family. We decided together that they needed to start paying the amount on the lease, leave, or start helping around the house. We took all the kids over to my mother-in-law's house, then we sat them down and had a talk. We gave them their options. They said I was an a-hole for tricking them into signing a lease agreement and then not collecting it so I could evict them. I said that wasn't the only choice. I said that she was the one who chose to lay a responsibility on a child. I said that I was basically the one supporting her and if she couldn't help then she had to give me money or leave. Some further information. Neither her nor her husband have jobs right now. They are buying groceries with his unemployment benefits. I set up the lease because of horror stories I have heard about people claiming to be tenants. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my gender reveal cupcakes? I am 22 years old woman found out last week my first baby's gender, and it's a little girl. My family are excited about I decided to do a small gender reveal over the Easter weekend. I had this planned for Saturday, so a few days before, I asked a small local business if she could please make 12 cupcakes with pink and blue icing on top, and pink icing in the middle. She agreed and said they would be ready to collect Friday evening. The plan was to pick the cakes up Friday, invite friends and family over Saturday, and give some guests a cupcake which would reveal the gender. I only invited a few guests as my apartment is fairly small, and I didn't want to do a large gender reveal anyway, just something cute and fun, plus, everyone loves cupcakes. So Friday evening came, the small business owner, Claire, gave me her address to collect the cakes from, said they would cost £25 and they are ready to collect whenever. I drove to her apartment and knocked on the door. She greeted me there with the box of cupcakes and they looked amazing. They were exactly how I imagined them and thanked her for them. She gave me the box, but just as she did, her large pet dog came running up to me, barking, and jumped at me, knocking the box of cupcakes all over the floor. Claire apologized and shut the dog inside. He was still barking and jumping at the door. She said it's because he gets excited when people come and visit, but he wouldn't have hurt me as he's friendly. At this point, I didn't know the damage to the cupcakes as the box landed upside down. I picked it up and the cakes were ruined. The icing had smashed all over the box and some cakes had spilled out onto the ground. Claire looked horrified as I understand she spent a few hours making them for me. She apologized and said she could remake them for free, but they wouldn't be ready until Sunday. I said unfortunately I'm expecting my guests tomorrow and Sunday is no good, as I already had other plans. I explained I wouldn't be paying for these cupcakes as they were inedible and ruined by her dog. We agreed payment upon receiving the goods, and since I never received them, I wouldn't be paying. She said that I should still pay as she had to buy ingredients for the cakes and the costs of eggs has gone up, meaning she would be out of pocket. I said if she had control of her dog, then they wouldn't have been dropped and am sorry, but again, I wouldn't be paying. I got in my car and left without the cupcakes. I still had guests attend on Saturday. I announced the gender in person, rather than with some cupcakes, but it was still nice spending time with my friends and family. My family were all happy, but my sister-in-law said I should have still paid for the cupcakes as she accepted it was her fault, and offered to remake them for me. I personally don't think I should have had to pay for them, but now I'm feeling slightly guilty as I understand it's a small business and a loss of profit would affect her a lot harder than a larger business. Am I the a-hole? Next story. Am I the a-hole for hiding vegetables in my boyfriend's food? I am 28 female, have been with my boyfriend, 36 years old, for a year and we moved in together about 4 months ago. One of the first things I noticed about my boyfriend was that he never really ate vegetables. He would sometimes eat them if we were out at a restaurant and they came as part of his meal. But he never ate them when I cooked for him. Originally I thought that maybe my cooking was the problem, so I asked him if he enjoyed my food and he told me he loves my cooking. On nights I didn't cook for him, he ate exclusively frozen foods and never ate the vegetables in those either. Naturally, he has some health issues. Vitamin deficiencies, etc. He had phrased it to me as if he was somehow just genetically unlucky. I believed it for a while because I don't know how that stuff works, but eventually it became clear to me it's because he voluntarily eats a vegetable like once a month. 6 months ago, I started hiding vegetables in my cooking. If I was making pasta, I'd put the vegetables in I'd usually put in for myself, then take half out and blend it so he wouldn't notice the vegetable chunks and then tell him I just scooped the veg out of his portion. This happens more often now we live together because I do all of the cooking. He's been telling me a lot lately. He's been feeling a lot better the past few months and has even had his doctor reduce the dosage of some of his medications, and he hasn't had to take his multivitamin in weeks. I kept my mouth shut because I'm just glad he's feeling better and it really does me no harm to hide the veg in his food. Yesterday, I was making one of our regular pasta meals. It's one that's very easy to hide at least 4 veggies in, and I was about to blend my boyfriend's portion when the blender died mid-blend. I had to serve it in all its veg chunk glory. My boyfriend refused to eat the vegetables, but when he tasted the sauce he said it's weird how it tastes the exact same even though this one has veg in it. So, I confessed. He screamed at me and called me a controlling bee and said that it's none of my business if he thinks vegetables don't do anything. I pointed out he said he felt better. He said his health was none of my business and that I'm a controlling, judgy a-hole and stormed out of our apartment to stay with his sister. His sister texted me to say he's fine, but she agrees with him. My friends agree it's ridiculous that he didn't eat veg, but agree I'm being an a-hole. Am I the a-hole? I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel or posts.